I'm just grateful and appreciative, that I've been selected with the both of the fellowships, and it is very impactful, and it does increase the scale because now more eyes are on the work than ever. Um, but for the record, I do want to say this: that for the 10 years or so that I was quote unquote an art practitioner, I hadn't filled out any applications to apply for any fellowships or anything like that. It was under the encouragement of this woman named Amy Franceschini, um, who encouraged me to fill out the application for the Guggenheim. Because, in my head, I thought these places that I applied to were you had to get nominated for because growing up here in Philadelphia, you always hear about the Pew and how you had to get nominated for it. And hence, I got a couple of nominations from the Pew. Just that made me rethink about going about applying to these different institutions that offer that you can apply for. So those applications with the Guggenheim and the Rome Prize and a few other prizes that I applied for that I didn't receive, um, they came after I got nominated for. The first one was the MacArthur Foundation Art and Tech Fellowship. That was the first one. I think that was year 2022. And then right on the heels of that, I had my first nomination for the Pew. So with the encouragement of those nominations, I started applying for stuff. I didn't receive those fellowships, but I heard that yeah, you can apply for these. You don't have to wait for a nomination. And then in remembering my dear friend Terry Atkins, who received the Rome Prize, I'm like, okay, I'm going to apply for that. Now that I know that I can apply for it, because I thought, there was a nomination. So not knowing the structure or how these different institutions operated, because like you said, I was independent. I funded my own work. But now that I have some help with these, I plan to take, the best advantage I can with it. But it's still nobody's still knocking my door, like, oh Ted, we want you to come do something over here. That still doesn't happen. I have very few people, meaning curators, say, oh, let's bring Taji in or something. So it's it's a funny scenario. But I was just told recently by a fellow artist, African American male, who I will let him remain nameless at this point, said to me, "Well, Taji, you're you're in a category called mid-career artist, and by you being African American male, the art world is really not looking for you right now." I'm like, "Oh, really?" And he clarified it by saying, if Ted, if you was a few years older than me, like if you was 80, they'd probably be championing you, or you was fresh out of university, they'd probably be championing you if you did the work you're doing right now. But because you're in this pocket, that's yeah. I'm like, oh really? And now here's a man telling me this that has quite a few museum shows under his belt. And I'm like, oh, really? He's like trying to tell me some more inside of how the art world works. So I'm aware of some things, but when he told me that, I was like, oh, really? So, I'm happy and I'm content. And, I always like to say this too. If God says in the sacred Quran, if something is for you, God said it's for you, nobody can deny it. And if it's not for you, nobody can give it to you. So that's the bottom line. I run everything right back to how God has, advised us in the sacred Quran. I really do, and to the way of my dear Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So that keeps me sane because there's a lot of stuff that happens in the art world that have you pulling your hair out, and all that. And I don't have no time for that. I'm trying, like I said before, I'm trying to please God. And that's my bottom line.